Hey there. You probably know that I love building a business while growing a community. But do you know why? Well, yeah, first of all, it's less lonely. But more importantly, I figure that it's so easy to have your next steps ready when your customers are right next to you. So earlier, I stumbled upon this YouTube channel called Every Tuesday, and it's a business slash channel for graphic designers. And at that very moment, I know that she's someone that I want to introduce to you. Well, if you know me, I like to get outside of my box to talk to people who are in a different space. So I asked Teela if she's okay to share her experience growing her business while involving her community. After watching this interview, I know that you'll be getting outside of your box as well. So, are you ready for this? Welcome everyone back to Public Show. I'm Kavan, and I love talking about building fan base, a raving one especially, and how we work with our fans to build our business. So today I have Teela with me here, and the reason why I'm inviting Teela is because I actually found her on YouTube. I forgot which show, but Teela was speaking on another show, and then I was like, "Ooh, really interesting story." And I check out the website every Tuesday, check out all the work. Of course, we live in very different world, but I think that really attracted me because how you show up, how you talk about your work is very special. So I'm very excited to have you here to share your journey with us. Tilla, welcome here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk about you as a person first before
Sure.
we dive into the business journey and all that. So who are you? How would you quickly describe your story?
My story. Well, I'm a graphic designer turned entrepreneur, I guess. My first job out of school, I graduated with a degree in graphic design. And my first job out of college was at a startup toy company. And I never thought of becoming an entrepreneur or having my own business, but witnessing the dynamics of a startup and kind of seeing like, well, if these guys can do it, I can definitely do it. And starting to think more like I'm spending all of my time working towards someone else's dream. I want to spend my time on my dream. What does my dream look like? And then by the third job that I had out of school, I was constantly being asked by my coworkers how I did things in certain design programs. And my fiance at the time, now husband, bought me a USB mic for Christmas one year to encourage me to just like jump in and just share what I knew on YouTube. And YouTube was early on at that point, it was like 2013. And I recorded my first video. It started taking off. I started growing there. And then Skillshare reached out to me and asked me to teach a course there. So then I got into teaching after that. And then I was making more off of teaching in my digital products than I was working for somebody else. And my husband and I decided to both take the leap. And we took our wedding savings and used that as our emergency fund. We got married by a judge, never had a wedding. And yeah, we've been going ever since. So we quit our full time jobs in 2015. So yeah, I started out as a graphic designer, never planned on having my own business, but here we are almost 10 years later. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, you two, not two, you four with your kid and the dog. You four should
Oh,
celebrate hard.
our dog
Yeah.
unfortunately passed in December,
Oh,
so I haven't had the heart to take
sorry
her
to
off
hear
the
that.
website yet. But yeah,
Oh.
it was quite a run. She was 15, so
Mm.
we had many years with her.
Speaking of Spencer, your husband, I have to
Yes.
ask, what is it like to work with your husband on a business? Because I know I cannot do it with my wife. We both know it.
You know what's so funny is when we were quitting, one of my old coworkers was like, "Don't you ever get sick of each other?" And I was like, "Actually, no. Like, it's weird. He's the first person I think I've ever met where I feel like I can be around him all the time. And we bounce ideas. We're so similar with so many different things that I feel like we can have these really in-depth conversations and really end up somewhere. We're just so similarly passionate about different things that I think our collaboration works really well. Like he's a designer and a coder, and now he's doing all of our video editing and he shoots our videos, whereas I do all the marketing and the writing and the concepting for everything. So our two skill sets work really well together, but we're on the same page about a lot of things. So yeah, we're around each other all the time. But because we're kind of separate with doing our own things, I think it works really well that way too.
That's really good to hear. By the way, I just checked out your latest YouTube videos. Just want to say you do a great job, showing up on camera and the editing, the filming, the vibe, everything is so good. So
Oh, thank you
yeah,
so
just want to
much.
point that out.
Really appreciate it. I was actually like kind of a faceless channel for a very long time. So this
I
year
see that.
I've decided to like, yeah, come out of my shell a little bit more. I think having a more youthful face throughout my life kind of worked against me because I felt like I was never taken seriously. So I kind of brought that into our business too, where I was like, I'm just going to explain things and hopefully everyone values the information I'm sharing. But now in this day and age, I feel like, especially after you build a community, that connection and having people be able to actually see you and who you are, I think those relationships just become more impactful for everybody, myself included. So I'm witnessing how important that is to just like, let that part of myself go and open up more.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of just being open about your thoughts. For example, I share my retrospective, my numbers with my community member, and they're just so happy to see all my mistakes and lesson learned. And I just want to point out one thing because when I check out your videos, I see the first few comments like Teela, blah 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 blah, Teela, blah blah blah. I feel like
Yeah,
because you're showing up on camera now, the bonding between you and your audience so much stronger. They call
for
you
sure.
Tila exclamation
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah. It's awesome. I'm just like eternally grateful for this community.
Yeah. So speaking of YouTube, I know you
Mhm.
you said you first started 2013 full time 2015. Yeah,
Yep.
and then now you're at 361,000 subscribers. So I really want to dive into the early days. What is it like to start a channel fresh, and how long did it take to at least feel like this is worth it?
Yeah, it was interesting because I was not fulfilled at my day job at all. I felt like my creative director just was not into my style. He actually made me question whether I should even be a designer. So it was really discouraging for a long time. And then, like, wanting to start my own thing, but not knowing what it was or what it could be. And I knew that I didn't want to freelance. Just, I've never been a fan of freelance. And then I found like digital products where I started selling textures and graphics and fonts. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe this is something. And then once I got into teaching, then I was like, okay, this is where it can be. So just doing YouTube was like my way of being able to do the work that wasn't being accepted at my day job, all of my passion that I wanted to bring to my day job that he didn't like, I got to share it online. So it wasn't even like me trying to have a business or grow a community at first. It was just an outlet for me to share the work that I was so eager to make, but kind of wasn't allowed to make at my day job. So it's purely from passion and wanting to share things and like finally getting some engagement from people that appreciated what I was doing. I was just like, please let somebody like my work. So I just was putting it out there just to share my style and to grow my style since I felt like I was being hindered at work. So yeah, just starting it out was purely for passion, sharing what I knew in these design programs that I would get asked about a lot. And then slowly the views started coming. And then I would get emails about other videos that people wanted me to make. So I'd be like, all right, I'll make that video too. And then the kind responses were just like overwhelming to me. And I was filled I was fulfilled so much more than going to my day job, where I dreaded going to my day job even more because I just couldn't wait to get home and work. I couldn't wait until the weekend so I could work on YouTube and my blog and growing that community. And then I learned about the importance of starting an email list early on, which I'm so grateful for because I mean, it wasn't long after I started YouTube where I would start sharing free assets and then bring people over to my website, and that started growing my email list much quicker. And then I remember, so I started in January of 2013 on YouTube. And then I quit my day job in September of 2015. And I remember having the talk with my boss when I was leaving. And this is so silly, but I remember telling him that I had 5,000 YouTube subscribers. And
And
now it's
what's the
like,
response?
yeah, but once I went full time with it and I could spend every day of the week, like literally I was working 7 days a week because I loved it so much. Then it just kind of like other websites started picking it up, other people started talking about me. I had more opportunities come my way. It was just like the consistency of constantly posting new work and trying to better myself every single time. So it was like not getting discouraged by slow growth at the beginning, but just staying true to like that consistency, the eagerness to grow my skills and come out of my shell a little bit because I am very much an introvert. So it was scary for me, but I thought like getting out of my shell and taking that risk and having that that anxiety was more important than being stuck in this job that I was miserable at. So I kind of like pushed through all of that fear and just was determined like I'm just going to work as hard as I can. I'm going to try and improve. I'm going to pay attention to what's going on, make adjustments. I'm not just going to stick with my same thing just because it's kind of working. I want it to work really well. So yeah, just building despite like slow growth at some points, other times high growth, and then like stagnant. Like you just got to adjust and pivot and constantly just don't give up, don't stop. That's the important thing.
You said just being consistent, right? Just keep putting the
Mm-hmm.
work out there. So, because I'm more active on Twitter now, X, I even have a book talking about that. So I'm used to sharing with people like you have to be proactive in building out your initial circle. Like you cannot
Yes.
just post and sit here and wait. But I know YouTube is quite different. Like you really can just keep posting and wait until the algo discover you. So other than posting and waiting, did you do something else that at least maybe, oh, I have this forum with a lot of designers. So I actively take a video and then, just naturally share with people, not like self-promotional, but like just want to help people. Do you do that kind of proactive actions as well?
Well, back when I was starting, I would post on Instagram and then I had my blog. So I'd get a lot of comments on. I would post a new blog post every single week that coordinated with my YouTube. So I would get lots of comments there. So I would engage with the community there. I'd engage with them on Instagram, on YouTube, and then I was growing my email list. So I was emailing them every month. Now I email them every week. So those were the biggest things I would say. And then I mean, I got into creative market pretty early on, which is a lot of people know is a big place to purchase assets. So that kind of grew my name when some of my products started taking off there because of the audience that came from YouTube and purchased there. So all these things combined, like I was also active with Skillshare. I did a lot of collaborations with them as well. So they helped put my name out and put my name in email blasts. Same with Creative Market. They had featured some of my products. So I felt like all these things combined kind of helped me to grow quicker than the average person early on. But I still attribute it to, that consistency of constantly posting regardless of what was happening.
Yeah, such a good lesson because I am right now in my fourth year, and I think a big part of my business is missing the leverage someone else platform, like a marketplace. You mentioned a few names there. I didn't do any of those. I was just building my lead magnets, my fun projects to attract people into my list by myself, all by myself for so
Yeah.
long. So that's such a good lesson. I was watching I think the last three videos. I think you posted last month. So you
Mhm.
said you learned this after 7 years
Yeah.
of running this. And then there's a tip about building products that are actually in demand. So I'm a
Yes.
big fan of lean startup, user interview, just paying attention to signals, not just
Yes.
imagining what people need. So I don't know if you remember back in the days or even right now, how do you gauge what to build, what people would need? Yeah, I just want to tap into that process a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So it kind of works two different ways if I'm creating a digital product versus an online course. So they've got some overlap though. So a lot of it is with online courses, I will post different types of YouTube videos and I'll kind of see what the response is, or I will ask my email list, like, are you interested in more of this? I do like 2 surveys a year with my email list. So that's really helpful to get direct feedback. And very strategic about what questions I decide to ask them because I always have in the back of my mind, this is a product I'd like to create. Let me see if I'm going to have buyers for that product. Or this is a course idea I have, but I'm going to present like a few other ideas that I'd also like to do, but include the one I really want to do. Let's see if they're going to choose the one that I want to do because I feel like they will, but let me make sure before I spend all that time doing it. So I test that way. I also, when I'm thinking about a digital product, I'll think about something I want to make first because if there's no passion behind it, I'm not going to make a great product. So I'll have an idea for a product and then I'll look at different marketplaces and see if that type of product or something similar to it is within the top sellers on on several different marketplaces. And if it's kind of hanging around the top like 20 items for that category, then I'll be like, okay, there's proof because marketplaces will order their products based on popularity. So I can easily filter and see like these massive websites that get way more traffic than me. What are people actually buying? So I can get my selling research done right away with that. And then I can quiz my own audience to make sure it aligns with what they're looking for. And then I have a better idea because I don't want to spend time on something that I just want to make. I want to make sure that it's going to be valuable to them too.
Do you give them an incentive or reward when you send out the survey? Because I
I
always
do.
feel like I need to give them something to
Yeah.
increase that, I don't know, response rate. What do you give them?
Yeah, I've heard like people are kind of mixed about it with like you shouldn't have to bribe your audience, but I'm kind of like I'm asking them to give up a little bit of time in their day. I find their time extremely valuable. I want to honor that time. So, things I've done in the past, I've given away a freebie before. I've done a discount to my online shop so I could generate some income from that too, like a very generous discount. And then this year I made a brand new because I teach courses and tutorials using the iPad app Procreate. And a lot of people love the brushes that come with Procreate. So I make a lot of brush sets, and that's one of my main digital products. So I made a brand new brush set and I gave them the full like premium brush set for participating. So they had to fill out the survey, and then at the end, the thank you page gave them a special link where they could download it for free. So it was like a $10 item, but for like 2 minutes of their time, people were more than willing to do that.
Yeah, that's something I find really fascinating about your space because I mostly teach knowledge and sell knowledge, but you can also create little tools that the
Mhm.
designers can use it themselves. So really practical.
Exactly.
Yeah, I guess for my case, it would be like templates, swipe files. It's still practical. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
haven't
cheat
done a
sheets,
lot of
whatever.
those.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
they're
true.
super helpful. The simplest thing, a checklist or a cheat sheet or a guide, or a list. There's so many fun things you can make for your people.
Yeah, and you also mentioned don't build low price products.
Yes.
I oh man, I guess because I started 3 years ago with nothing, like no followers, no niche, no friends in the space.
Mhm.
So I had to build up my confidence. So I started, low, and then as I grow, I scale up. What's your thinking behind avoiding low price products?
Yeah, it's a trap. It's like the lowest hanging
Why?
fruit because it's so when you price your products low, you're automatically establishing a low value for the work that you're putting out. And you need insane volume to get to your income goals if you're selling a low price product. And a lot of other people are similarly minded where they're like, if I make a cheap product, then I'll get a lot of customers. A lot of people don't think about how the value perception that's laid on that can come across to your future buyers. Because if you're willing to sell something wonderful for $3, what do you have to deliver to be able to get $100 sale? And it's respecting yourself and the knowledge and what you bring to the table. Other people will respect that too when you place a higher value on the work that you're delivering because you know that you're going to deliver this value and other people are going to benefit from it. It's the benefits that they receive from the value that you're providing. That's where the financial investment comes from. And when people have to invest more in a product, they're more likely to follow it, to learn from it, and to want more from you for it. When someone just buys something cheap, it's like, well, I bought this thing, but I don't have time for it. If they spend $100 on it, they're like, I'm going to make time for this. And then they become more invested in the materials that you're providing and are more likely to invest with you in the future if they got value from it.
Yeah, I personally experience with a price like $200 for my course. I reach out to the students. No one ever
Yeah.
respond to me. But if people are paying 600, 800, they're always there. Yeah, at the office hour and such. But then what do you think about someone saying, I price it low so then I can get more people into the door. I can get more testimonial. I can get more word of mouth. I can snowball it that way. Is that a valid way of saying this?
So I think for me personally, I will either go free, like here's something that's for free, and this is what's going to, if you have no budget at all, I'm still going to provide value for you. So I have free, lots of free items that people can come and download. I have more mid-range priced items, so I have $100 items. I have my digital products that range from $10 to $40. And then my courses range from $100 to $500. So I try to provide value among all budgets. And then I have free tutorials too. So if you have no budget, you can still learn from me. We can still have a relationship. We can still be a part of the same community. But if you want to deep dive and really learn the material and set yourself up where you could sell your own digital products or create your own art pieces, if that's what you really want to learn, then you need to invest in the higher price courses. And hopefully, you've gained enough value from me throughout your free experience that you can trust me. You know, I'm going to provide, I'm going to follow up. You're going to get what you're paying for by the time you make that investment with me. I feel confident, and hopefully, you feel confident too.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's dive into the part that I'm very excited about, growing fans and working with them.
Sure.
So I noticed you use the word tribe on your website. I don't like the word audience so much because it's always so distant, so cold. But it is the word that people understand. Like everyone understand, oh, I want an audience, people around me watching me. I like the word community, but then it signals people for, a paid membership or something.
Yeah.
So you use the word tribe. How do you view your public audience, and then how do you nurture deeper relationships with the people around you?
Yeah, we're actually transitioning. It's funny you bring that up because we're transitioning from the Tuesday tribe, which I just did for the alliteration, but I know there's some stigma behind the word tribe. So we're moving away from that
Right.
to Tuesday makers. So that's
Okay.
what we refer to our community now as. So yeah, they are the Tuesday makers. So we're making things together. This year we kind of launched our learn and earn function. So it's learning how to create things and then learning how to make money off of the things that you create or the skills that you develop from creating things. And then we have a Facebook community, which is all our Procreate community of Tuesday makers, where if you take any course from me, even if you take our free course, we've got a Procreate for Beginners free course. Even if you take that course, you're allowed into the group, the community. And that
Oh,
is
okay.
closing in on 3,000 members now. And it's very active. Like people post their artwork every day. It's such a safe place for people to post their artwork and get feedback and encouragement and troubleshoot. They've got so many just wonderful people that are there to respond to them. If I can't get to them one day, I know that someone else is going to chime in and help somebody out. So it's just, it's a lot of community over competition. And it's just, I'm so proud of it and grateful to be a part of it. And it just came from delivering value for free and in-depth value too, paid content. So there's no like discrimination here. If you take any of my courses, you are allowed in the community.
Wow, that's so generous because I don't know, when I look around the internet, everyone seems to be talking about subscription. So you should charge your
Yeah.
membership fee
I am
quarterly
like
annually.
so
But
against, yeah. I am like the I'm a la carte for all of my courses because I don't like subscriptions. So why would I force my members to have subscriptions? Like I'm perfectly happy doing the a la carte method. There's plenty of opportunities for people to purchase from me. I don't want that pressure either every month of having to come up with additional content because I would rather take 2 or 3 months to create a wonderful course than to pressure myself to like rush through content because I I have to hit a deadline because I've got paying subscribers that month. I just, I know that I can deliver better value and better work if I'm not pressuring myself with a subscription. So that's another reason why we don't do paid memberships.
That's such a good point. With any kind of membership, even annual membership, you have to constantly just
You're in
create
that
something
hamster
for
wheel,
them to
you know, like,
enjoy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I don't want to like ever feel like I'm not giving, like, I'm just like an overachiever by nature. And just the thought of underachieving on a deliverable, like, it gives me insane anxiety. I just can't do it. I know, like, just the person I am, I couldn't deal with that stress on top of everything else that I want to do with our business.
You know, my first paid product, when I built some credibility in the space, my first paid product was a paid community. So it was very low price. Well, I fell into that trap because it was my first one. But yeah, the burden is like everyone is paying me $5 a month, but I felt like I owe them. I need to create more events, create more co-working hours for them. And then I close
Yeah.
it down 4 months later. I guess having a community space like that with 3,000 people, it works even better than the email list because I can feel that the energy and
Oh, for
the
sure.
closeness of that group will be 10 times better than your email list. So you can also survey people there, right?
Oh yeah, I talk to them all the time. I always can like gauge what they're looking for, what they're wanting to see. People make requests in there for new courses for me to make. The other really cool benefit is that even though I've got like free people that took the free course and then tons of paid people in there, when people share their work from the course that they're taking, people who haven't taken that course get to see that the people that took the course, look at the results they're getting from taking the paid course. So then it's more tempting for them. And then they're like, ooh, I wasn't sure I wanted to take that course, but now I really want to take it. And then other people chime in and be like, you should take it. It's great. So I think we actually end up getting more sales that way, just organically throughout the year, outside of other promotions and sales that we have.
That's so smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I always talk about showing your work in public. And I ask people when they develop their courses, they should tell their students to share in public because it drives traffic back or awareness back. But your way is pretty much, yeah, you don't even need to tell them. They're already doing it because they
Yep.
also want to get some feedback and get some
Exactly. And they're
recognition.
so proud
That's
of what they
crazy.
created too, and everyone's so supportive. Like it's like instant compliments if you post anything in there. So it's a nice confidence booster.
So there are so many communities out there. How do you make sure that your safe space, your energy, or basically, how do you make sure people like your space? Do you do something different? Do you, or because if it's just a forum, if it's just like posting and replying, that's also quite similar to other communities. How do you stand out?
Yeah, I think because I email my subscribers every single week, I share things that are going on in my life. I consider myself like a very down to earth person. I'm not an oversharer by any means. I still like my private life, but I will like when my dog passed away, I explained that in an email and just like posted some pictures and talked about how she was part of my journey. I got really sick in November because my daughter's in pre-K now. So I shared that I was behind a little bit, but I was working on it and I was going to hit a deadline for something. But and then I got like the most wonderful replies of people being like, "Yeah, bronchitis is awful. I hope you feel better. Don't worry, we're here whenever you're ready." So it's just like I think sharing bits of my life that other people can relate to, as well as just like being human. You know, I'm not trying to put up this front that I'm like this major company or anything. It's me and my husband, and we're making videos to help creatives improve their skills and monetize their skills. At the end of the day, that's our goal. And we're just two people that love engaging with people. We appreciate art. We're passionate about everything that we're doing. And then in our Facebook group, like I'm in there all the time complimenting. Like I try not to miss a single post. I try and reply to every single post that's posted there, compliment them, give them feedback, answer questions if they have any. My inbox, I try and reply to every email within 48 hours. So I think it's just like they hear from me too. I don't have an assistant answering my emails, even though some days I could get 30 emails. I am making sure that I am engaging with people. So I think it's like the human aspect, the relatability, and then like the personal. connections that I'm able to have because I'm the one that's engaging and replying. I'm not so big that I'm going to put that off to somebody else. Like I really value replying to people's emails, even though most people would be like, you need to spend your time on more valuable things. Like that's really valuable to me. So I think all those things combined probably help us stand out and have this really wonderful community.
Yeah, I I was gonna go there to talk about transparency, but we're
Yeah.
already here, and
Yeah.
transparency is a big part of what I how I approach my business and how I teach people what to do, and I can just see that. I now I know why I have to invite you to this because I don't know. We're on a safe wavelength. Like the stuff that we do, the care that we give to the people around you is very similar. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate how you approach it, and that's why you have so many fans.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
pretty obvious now. What about we talk a little bit already, like involving the fans as you build new products, like surveying them. Probably you would observe what they're writing in the Facebook group as well.
Mhm.
Any other examples? Because I'm very keen on pre-order and then let people have early taste of the product so then they can be early testimonials, they can help share as we launch. Anything around those area?
But I think I'm to a point now because we've grown our, like, I've been a course creator for so long now that now we're at a point where I don't have to worry as much when I release a new course. Like I know I'll have buyers for it because I have a history of delivering. Whenever I say like, this is what you're going to get, I'm over delivering on what I say they're going to get. So they trust me and I don't have to necessarily like pre-order anymore. But back in the day when I was just starting, I started on Skillshare and I'm not as much of a fan of Skillshare as I used to be, but I would post there and it would be like an intro version of a course. So if you have a paid membership to Skillshare, which was like $100 a year, you could get a taste of the course. And if you enjoyed the course, then you can come over and you can take the full course from me. So that was helpful to see. Or if I had an idea for a course, I could post like a mini version of the course. And if it did well, then I could be like, all right, now I can do a full-fledged course on this because there's demand. It was the same with YouTube. If I had an idea, I could do like a lengthier video on a topic. And if it got a lot of engagement or email replies about it, then I know like, all right, this is safe for me to spend my time on. Now, like with all the analytics we have with our community and YouTube and our email list, now I feel pretty certain when I go and create a course. But when I was just like testing things out, YouTube helped me the most, I would say, followed by Skillshare.
That's really interesting because it's quite different from how my side of the the internet operates. Like
Yeah.
I'm very active on X, and then a lot of people when they do a launch, they need to build buzz and
Mhm.
then get people to reshare, and that public exposure will draw more people in. But from the sound of it, the way you operate, you basically build something useful and then you just launch it to the people following you,
Yeah, I
and
did.
that very
Yeah.
calm, very yeah,
I mean, I
very
build up hype
very
for sure.
nice.
I talk about it beforehand. When I released our pattern course last spring, I did like a pre-launch. So I had a sign up page and I said like this course is going to be released on this day, but if you sign up to get notified as soon as it goes live, you'll get a free cheat sheet and you'll get access to 3 course videos immediately in your inbox. So they sign up there, then I have an idea right away of people who are highly interested in this course, and I get more people on my email list that maybe didn't know about me before because we're running ads to that page where you can get like free course videos and a cheat sheet if you go and sign up here for free. So that was enlightening because then I could kind of gauge how well the course would do. And it was pretty spot on. So that was helpful. So I definitely still build up hype. I talk about it often. I let my subscribers know this is what I'm working on. Here's a quick peek at one of the projects you'll get to make when you join the class. It's going to launch on this day. Make sure you open your email because there's a special deal just for subscribers the week that it launches. So I build up a lot of hype around it. It's not like I just launch it and then they come. Like I do put in a lot of marketing
I
work
thought
for it,
it's
and I write.
that calm.
Oh
Okay,
no,
this makes
definitely.
sense.
It
Yeah.
was like some of the most stressful parts of my whole year is right before a launch because I'm like writing tons of emails and, trying to make some materials to engage people and get them really excited about it too.
Oh yeah, I realize emails is really a big part if you want to do
Huge,
it well. Yeah, there's
massive.
segmentation, there's like follow-up
Hmm.
emails, there's like window closing kind of emails.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Stressful, really stressful.
Yep.
some
But good.
some weeks
Like
I'm
I
just
love the
writing emails.
strategy. Yeah. I never thought I would love marketing as much as I do, but I love the strategy behind it. I love understanding what people want. I love talking to them about it. I love delivering things that I know will help them and be valuable to them. So, yeah, all those things combined, I just get so excited about the strategic part of email marketing.
Same here. I think for me, maybe because I also was a coder before. So those like engineering parts of email marketing is like,
Oh, for
this
sure.
is so fun.
Yeah, connecting all those parts. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. And from the sound of it, it sounds like, yeah, you grow to a stage where you don't need as much the audience help to create the buzz. You can do it yourself. What about in terms of the ideation, the research process? Other than the survey, because that's just twice a year, do you
Mhm.
sometimes like put out an open-ended question in your Facebook group and then just like let the ideas fly and then observe? Do you do that as well?
Sometimes people will make a suggestion and say, Tila, I've been looking for a course like this. I want to take it from you. I don't want to take it from the other people that I've seen. Is it on your list? Do you have any interest in making this? So then I'll reply back to them and I'll be like, well, I'll put it on my list, but if there's enough interest, I'll move it up my list. So then other people will chime in and be like, I really want that one too. I really want that one too. And then I'm like, okay, it's going up the list. So yeah, there's definitely that happening. And then if someone suggests that and I'm like, all right, I'm moving it up the list, then I will start creating some YouTube content around it. In an email blast for that YouTube content, I'll say, like, if you want more videos like this, please let me know and I'll make more content like this. And the more engagement I get off of an idea, then it just builds confidence in me that, all right, this is the direction that I need to go down next. Because I truly don't just make stuff for myself anymore. When I first started, I was like, well, I love watercolor. I'll make a course on watercolor. But now it's all about like what they want. And if it aligns with an interest that I have, then it's a perfect match.
Yeah. Wow. You're like a software. You know how software they have the feature request list. They
Yeah,
sometimes even make it public. But then
that's
now
so
you
funny.
you as a person, you are like a software. People request you. You're like my role model now. Like
Oh,
one day if someone say, Kavan, teach me about this. I want to learn from you. That will be my big day. Yeah.
awesome.
All right. I think, yeah, I really love this because everything you say really shows that you care about the people around you and you care about showing up in a real way. I guess I have one last question. This one is random because I hear advice on the internet all the time. What is something that people keep telling you to do, but you keep rejecting? You're like, no, I'm not going to do it. This might be a hard, so take your time.
Yeah. What do they keep telling me to do that I'm not doing? I had someone ask me for a portrait class, teach portraits in Procreate on the iPad, and I played around with that idea. I like the idea. I'm not a portrait artist. I don't draw portraits, I draw flowers. So a little different. I'm open to doing it, but right now my passion is more like this year switching to helping people monetize because we have so many courses now in our library of teaching people how to make beautiful art. I want to help those that are coming here to learn those skills to be able to monetize them. And over the last 10 years, we've just learned so much. There's just so much opportunity for digital artists to not feel like they have to compete with AI now, especially because that's a huge fear in our community. And I want to show them that there's a viable path forward to being self employed, to not having to freelance, to not having to give up your time for someone else's dream. And that's like, I'm so passionate about that that I'm like a little bit resisting the portrait class because I'm more passionate about that. It's not to say I'm not going to do a portrait class someday, but that's one thing that I had quite a few requests on that I kind of pushed back. So I guess that would be the only thing right now. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
That's really good because the truth is we have to listen to our audience and fulfill their needs, but we also need to make sure we like the
Yep.
work we do. I hear both from you, so it's all about that overlap. Of course, it
Yeah.
takes years of experience to really know how to find the overlap. But hey, Tila, thank you so much for doing this with me. I really enjoy this. I
Oh,
love
thank
talking to
you for
people who are
asking.
not like, just running businesses topics. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
really special.
Awesome. Well, likewise. Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed our chat.
Yay. Thanks a lot.